Obviously, things have not been working out for Josh Donaldson and the Yankees this season. After sitting three straight games, what's the Yankees' plan moving forward? Let's figure it out on today's Locked On Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias, and with me, as always, is my producer, Steve Granado. Steve, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, Stacey. Hey, finally, may I just say this real quick? No more Monday off days.
I know.
At least for the foreseeable future. We got through the Monday off day June, or at least after this we will.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we have a preview of the series in Oakland that's coming up a little bit later. We have some bold predictions for that series as the A's and Yanks meet up again here this season. We got to talk about the American League wild card. Of course, we have pretty much given up on the AL East. So the next bit of news is the wild card. Can the Yankees win the wild card? We're going to talk about that later. Stacey first, of course. Josh Donaldson did not play, barely played against Texas. He had one pinch hitting opportunity in the 10th inning on Friday, struck out, boos rained down. You guys know. But he didn't start. And of course, there was a meeting on Sunday with him. But first, I just kind of wanted to talk about him not starting, Stacey. Just your feelings on Donaldson not starting over the weekend.
It felt like him not starting those two games leading into the long meeting with Boone, it felt like something was going to happen. And then it didn't. And it's just, I don't know. Maybe they were thinking that what they did with DJ, because they sat him down for a few games, and then he kind of started to get going just a little bit, that maybe they were thinking the same thing could be done with Donaldson. Maybe that's their mindset. I don't know. He's been awful. I mean, what are you going to do? You kind of have to sit someone when they're not doing anything. But I kind of don't understand the pinch hitting move, because if you're not going to start someone because they're not hitting, why would you pinch hit them in that situation?
In a big spot as well,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I get like a pinch hit in the 8th or something where you're up by 1 or 2 and there's leading off or there's 1 out or something. Yeah, but like in a spot where you need him to come through, obviously.
Yeah, that I don't understand that move. If you're going to sit him, just sit him. Don't put him in that situation, because it just makes it worse. And it did.
So in his place, DJ started on Friday, IKF started on Saturday, and DJ started on Sunday, all at third base, obviously. We're going to talk about the future of Donaldson and how it looks contract-wise in just a second. But just those options, DJ and IKF at third base, how you feel about, let's talk defensively. How you feel about, are you okay with that defensively?
Yes, with both of them. I am.
Yeah.
DJ made a really good play Sunday against Texas. That was kind of like falling into foul territory, threw it over his head and got the out. And, I'm not worried about DJ or IKF playing third, because IKF tends to be better at third than he is at short. And I've said this a lot of times, that I thought IKF should get the start at third over Donaldson. So I didn't mind that move on Saturday at all. So defensively, I don't think they're not losing anything, really.
And about offensively, I mean, both of those right now statistically are an upgrade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
I mean, it's not like it's,
it's not huge.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at. I think what's interesting about this scenario, and a lot of the scenarios we talk about Volpe and we talk about other players, how Aaron Hicks and IKF, like these players who are people are clamoring for them to not play.
Right.
There isn't an obvious answer.
Right.
That's been the issue. A lot of this season has been there aren't clear-cut guys that like deserve the at-bats. Right. There are guys that are probably going to put you in a better spot, but it's not by and large like you're starting IKF over Judge or something ridiculous like that.
Right. I agree
and
with
yes,
that.
Oswald. I know Oswald. We're going to get to that in a second. So the meeting on Sunday, Stace, that conversation, 45 minutes long. You guys know the story. He media availability, he was late. When Donaldson talked about it after the game on Sunday, he really shot everything down, right? He was very like, dude, I don't know, man. We talk all the time. This isn't out of the blue. We was just talking about baseball. Are you buying that?
No. No, because it cut into Boone's media availability. If it was just they talk about baseball all the time, it would have happened earlier, or it would have happened at a completely different time and not when he was supposed to meet with the media, to the point where the media pointed out, yeah, he's like 45 minutes late. Something's, and Josh Donaldson went in and didn't talk to us and something's going on. So no, I don't believe that at all.
To be fair, I believe it was 30 minutes late. The meeting was 45 minutes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Regardless, splitting hairs here. Coming out of that, again, Josh shot it down. Aaron Boone shot it down pretty hard. And look, I don't want to make something out of nothing here as well.
Right.
Of course they talked about it. Like, he didn't start for 3 days. Like, they're very clearly, there was a conversation about that. And, maybe that wasn't the majority of the conversation. I could possibly buy that. I can buy that. Imagine the good chunk of that conversation was talking about how to fix the issues, right? Like, talking about like, hey man, this is what we're seeing, we're swinging. Let's talk about it. Probably maybe even looked at a little bit of film. Like, I can totally buy that side of the conversation.
Yeah.
What's interesting, I think, what came out of that, or came out after that, is how Aaron Boone said that, quote, he's going to play a lot this week. Of course, so Texas, tougher opponent, better than you're going to see against Oakland, and then you're going to see against St. Louis in the next week, right, during this road trip.
Yeah.
But that he has to come out and say that is, I think, kind of a little telling of where this whole saga is at.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was so the range of emotions on Twitter, if you're not on Twitter, because, the news came out that he was late for media availability. He was talking to Josh Donaldson, and Donaldson hadn't started. He wasn't in the lineup. People were thinking, is this happening? Like, is this the day? Like, some people were joking about how they were picturing the conversation between Crash Davis and the manager of the Durham Bulls in Bull Durham when they let him go after Luke Lelouch went up to the show. So people were talking about that and picturing all this stuff. And then it was a whole lot of nothing. I think, like you said, they're facing the A's, they're facing the Cardinals. They're both not good teams, but you never know what's going to happen. But also, Donaldson played in Oakland. It might be, maybe that might kickstart him into something, just being there and maybe like feeling like, okay, let's pretend I'm back with them and I'm, this much younger, and let's try and play like I played back then, because he was a pretty good player when he was with the A's. But I feel like, what you said, it's against lesser opponents, and the Yankees should win most of the games this week, but we'll see what happens.
So the future, this is what it's looking like with Josh Donaldson, right? He has a mutual option for 2024, which is pretty obvious that is not going to be exercised. So the Yankees would have to buy him out of that contract if they do, for some reason, say yes mutually, which I mean, I don't even know if Josh Donaldson would say yes to that mutually.
Right.
Obviously, money-wise, it would behoove him, but he's got plenty of money. They all do. I mean, they have to buy him out. If they didn't do that and they said yes, then he'd have one more year on that contract and then be a free agent in 25. He also has a 5-team no trade clause. And I found this interesting also in this. Not that this is any money whatsoever to Major League Baseball, but if he were to be traded, the new club would have to pay $2 million in bonuses. So that is a weird little quirk of this Donaldson contract. So let's say he gets traded to, I don't know, Miami would pay Josh $2 million to get him, and obviously everything else, and they'd iron out how all the rest of the money works. The obvious answer for a lot of people has been call up Oswald and let him play third. Oswald hasn't played a ton of third. He was playing more third base with the Rail Riders as of recently, but also as of recently he's been injured. He has a non-disclosed injury that is a little finicky. So everything that I've heard of, the only thing that I saw speculation on is that it might be a muscular injury.
Yeah.
But the other thing is he's very close to coming back. He was on the field on Sunday. He was doing like pregame everything, taking ground balls, all that kind of stuff. So it looks like he's pretty close to coming back, and it seems like he'll probably play this week. He's missed about a week. So that is interesting. Your thoughts on trade/DFA of Josh Donaldson and the likelihood, the realistic likelihood of something like that happening?
I don't see a trade. DFA, maybe. But he also mentioned, what was it, last week, that he's not even sure if he's going to play in 2024, that this might be the last hurrah for him. And maybe the Yankees are thinking that too, where they're just like, okay, like, we don't really want to DFA some guy who's not even sure if he's coming back next season, because that's really mean to do. But I know it's a business, and I know that. But I don't see who would take him at this
No
point.
one. I mean, I'm sure you could find someone. You found someone for, the Dodgers took Gallo.
True.
But
yeah, that was different. That was a whole, I think there was a whole Gallo can't handle New York thing, and maybe we'll turn him around, sort of, where Donaldson's 38,
sure.
Gallo was like 30, 31. So I don't know.
Yeah, not quite apples to apples there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think the Yankees would be willing to DFA Donaldson at this point. I think if it goes like this for another month, that could be revisited. But I think right now, with the injuries and how they've bitten, I just don't think they can afford to lose bodies.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's why they're kind of like, okay, you're going to sit here. We're going to let DJ and IKF play for you for a bit, and then we'll play you again. And yeah, I can see that.
Because you just need him as close to league average as possible.
I know, just get to league average, Josh. That's all we need.
Yeah. We'll see. Let us know how you're feeling about Josh Donaldson. Again, we asked, realistically, what's the situation? Yes, we know you want to DFA him. Of course you do. But realistically, from a business standpoint, the Yankees don't want to do that. And then again, from a body standpoint, from a baseball standpoint, they just don't have a lot of bodies right now. Yes, I know a DFA would open up a 40-man spot, so they'd be able to add one. But it's like Andres Chaparro gets 40-man. You don't know what he's going to do at the major league level. If it's going to be better than Donaldson, who knows? And then defensively, Chaparro is a liability at this point, especially without a true position. So I don't know. They're kind of in a bind here. But let us know what you would do. Of course, while you're in the comment section, drop your questions for Fan Mail Friday. And if you want to skip the line for Fan Mail Friday, join our subtext. All the information, as well as all the perks, is in the episode description here for this episode. We're going to step aside, and we come back. We need to talk about the American League wild card. Can the Yankees actually get a spot?
For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit, or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply.
Back now here on Locked On Yankees. Hey, to the everydayers out there, coming up on Wednesday. Hey, we got game one against the Oakland A's on Tuesday night. So, on Wednesday, we're going to talk about that game one. We'll see how that pitching matchup fared. Of course, it's Johnny Brito back on the mound for a second go around. We'll see how he looks. We'll break it down for you on that show. Of course, you can catch the A's series on SiriusXM, just like every game this season for the Yankees. All you got to do is download the SiriusXM app. It's free. And of course, there's trials everywhere. Just Google it. Hey, Stace, these are the current wild card standings as we look at it right now. Obviously, this is for games occur on Monday night, but this is what we can anticipate how they look. The Orioles in first at 47-29, so 18 games over, which is impressive. Yeah. The Yankees in second, 43-35. They just have a half game lead on Toronto at 43-36. Those are the three right now. So basically the entire AL East is in.
Mm-hmm.
The Houston Astros are right behind Toronto by a half game, 42-36. The Angels had a tough week and are now in, fifth place, 42-37. And then Boston is the last over 500 team at 40-39. Stacey, your thoughts on the American League wild card race as we approach the All-Star break? Wow.
I mean, can we talk about how good all the teams are in the American League? Because the National League wild card doesn't look like this. This is amazing.
No. The AL is stacked.
It's so stacked. Like, it's really, everyone wants ties and close division stuff, but I feel like the wild card is going to go down to like the last second, and all these teams are going to be in the running. It's really tight right now, and it's interesting to see out of all those teams, Boston's the only one that's played over 500 in the last 10. Houston's only played 3-7 in the last 10, and they had a little trouble against not so great teams. So it's interesting to see. Yeah, it's kind of amazing. I think it would be absolutely hilarious if all three wildcard teams come out of the AL East, and it's completely possible. And it doesn't have to be the Yankees. It could be Baltimore, Toronto, Red Sox there at the end of the season in the wild card. It's just unbelievable to me. Let me ask you this. As an Angels fan, how are you feeling? Because, your team is usually at this point kind of not there,
begging for something to go right.
Yeah.
The Angels have had by all accounts a pretty good season. It's been pretty rocky. They obviously have been dealing
no pun intended after this weekend.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
They've obviously dealt with their fair share of injuries over the last week to 2 weeks. Gio Urshela's gone. Anthony Rendon simply ceased to exist. They just traded for Mike Moustakas. They sent down Jared Walsh. They called up David Fletcher. So there's a lot of flux right now. Zach Neto might be close. Ben Joyce, the flame-throwing reliever, might be close here roughly soon. So there are a lot of moving parts, and the Angels are anticipating to get some guys back. So I think they could be on the upswing. But like you said, they had a tough series, a weird series in Colorado after scoring 25 runs on Saturday. They ended up losing Friday in stunning fashion. They lost on Sunday, got close. The Angels, I think, aren't too dissimilar from the Dodgers, but I think they're stronger than the Dodgers overall with their roster construction. They rely on less rookies to get the job done. So they have a lot of role players. I think they're still missing an arm because their starting pitching just hasn't given them enough. So they probably are going to be in the market for an arm, but they're very clearly making a push as far as a team standpoint is concerned, a franchise standpoint. They're very much trying to stay alive with all these injuries, and they've done a fairly good job thus far with that. So I think they play for an arm at the deadline here and see where that takes them. As far as Houston is concerned, if we want to stick in the AL West, Houston is really banged up. They've lost some heavy hitters. So I mean, they're obviously still contending,
of course,
and are still a good team. I think this is probably the weakest Houston team we have seen in a long time.
Oh yeah, it's been a good 7 years since we've seen a Houston team, and they're still not even that weak. They're 42-36. Like in any other year, they would probably be in first or close. You know what I mean? Like it's just the way everyone's playing this season is just not expected. A lot of these teams,
Sure. Well, speaking of that, let's just go through them real quick. I just want to get your quick thoughts, Stacey. I'm going to ask you, do you believe in them or not? Because, I mean, hey, we're a good chunk of the season in at this point. Baltimore, do you believe in them or not?
I feel like they're faltering a little bit, but I feel like they can get one of the wild card spots. I really think they can.
Toronto, do you believe in them?
I do. I feel like it's another situation like last season where they kind of started off iffy in the first half and they'll pick things up in the second half, because I can see them also winning a wild card spot. I almost feel like those two are nearly guaranteed. Could that be one of my first bold predictions?
Sure. Houston, do you believe in Houston?
I do, because I feel like...
Because you're so harmed over the last decade of just getting Hey, you and me both.
Yeah, no, I know. We're just so battered by them. No, I feel like the Rangers might not be able to hold on to the AL West. I feel like when Houston starts getting people back, the Rangers might be losing people. And I feel like Houston's going to win the AL West. Like it's going to be like down to the wire kind of comeback annoyance kind of thing. I don't know.
And you're like, wow, you won it again.
Yeah.
Do you believe in Anaheim?
I can see them finishing extremely close to a wild card spot. Like, I don't think they're going to fall off so far that it's going to be like, oh, here we go again with Anaheim. I feel like they're going to be very close. I mean, it's possible, but I don't feel like they're going to win a wild card spot.
I have a feeling you don't believe in Boston.
No, I don't.
We haven't believed in Boston all year.
No. They're so up and down.
Quickly, the one outlier I still have that I still feel could be in the hunt is Seattle. Do you believe in Seattle?
Not this year. I felt better about them last year. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe if they make a move or something, but I don't know. I don't feel it this year with them.
Notice how there's no Central teams in this conversation.
Ever.
Hey.
Yeah, never.
Never. Drop your questions for Fan Mail Friday down below. And of course, let us know how you're feeling about the wild card race. Of course, if you want to skip the Fan Mail Friday line and jump right to the very front like you got a Disney pass, you can join our subtext. All the information is in the episode description. You get a bunch of more perks to do that as well. And there's a free 14-day trial. Coming up next, we got to talk about this upcoming series in Oakland. Back here on Locked On Yankees, Stace, new series in Oakland, back out to the Coliseum here this week, which means back to West Coast baseball, 6:40 West Coast time, 9:40 back in the wrong time zone. Hot, cold, and heating up, Stacey. Who on the Yankees is hot?
I'm going to say Nick Ramirez. I feel like he's, no one's mentioning him. 17 and 1/3 innings so far as a Yankee, 1.56 ERA. He pitched 1 1/3 on Sunday, didn't even give up a hit to the Rangers, just came in, did his job, left, he's looking good. It's that bullpen is just unbelievable. It feels like everyone they plug in there just does well. It's unbelievable.
That's called sand-breamed magic. Best bullpen in baseball that doesn't have a closer.
Yeah.
Cold,
well, no, let's say it's the best because they have the best ERA in baseball.
Yes, but I'm saying, still maybe the best that we've seen in a long time without a closer, just in general. Who's cold on the Yankees, Stace?
The offense is still cold. I mean, I'll give them Sunday, 8th inning. That was cool. Good for you. And I'm also going to add Giancarlo Stanton in here because, it's cool. And he even said it after the game. He's like, I'm not happy. He's like, yeah, it's great. I got an RBI hit. He's like, but I'm still not looking good at the plate and I'm not happy with this. So I'm going to say the same thing. And hopefully they can all wake up this week against Oakland and St. Louis.
We'll see who they're going to face in just a second, but who is heating up? I'm
going to say Sevy because I was not expecting that on Saturday. Let's just be real, because as we keep saying, Texas's offense is good. And coming into the series, you guys saw my face if you watched on YouTube when we were talking about the series preview, and I was making faces like, oh, because of the way they lost against the last game that they lost in the Seattle series. Heading into that series with the Rangers, I was really scared of how bad they were going to do. And Sevy looked great. So, and it was against a good offense. If he can keep this going, he'll be hot. He'll be hot in the next hot, cold, and heating up.
Yeah, that'll be on Friday. As long as we don't have a million fan mail questions, which we've been getting, by the way. You guys are awesome. Hey, pitching matchups for this week. Johnny Brito versus Paul Blackburn. I want to talk about Brito in a second, but Paul Blackburn has had an interesting season. He had some fingernail and blister issues earlier in the season, which held him out of play for a couple of months. He even had to stop his rehab at one point. But his strikeouts are starting to rack up over his last 2 outings. And weirdly enough, Paul Blackburn, just 29 years old, is like the seasoned veteran on the A's rotation. So curious to see how he does. He's pitched pretty well since returning, and we'll see if he can do that here. But Stacey, Johnny Brito, the shock of the season. Let's be real, more so than the Vasquez debut, but Brito looked good last time out.
He really did. He really did. I'm hoping for a repeat of that performance. The person I'm not hoping for a repeat of their previous performance is Wednesday starter, Domingo Germán.
Yeah, Germán and JP Sears. We'll talk about Domingo, but JP, of course, has faced the Yankees once this season and was probably not what he wanted to do. 5 earned and 5 1/3. But since then, on May 8th, Stacey, he has really taken off and has been the JP Sears that we all came to love last season. So very curious to see if he is out for a little bit of revenge on Wednesday night. Domingo Germán, he's got to figure something out.
Yeah, figure it out. Seriously, because we can't have another outing like that. That was just really terrible.
Yeah, I mean, we were trying to figure out what it is, but it's hard to pinpoint one thing because it's like everything right now. Everything is not working for Domingo Germán. So he's really got to, clean the slate. It's been back-to-back terrible outings. We'll see how he does in Oakland. TBD on Thursday facing Clark Schmidt. Clark has been great, man. Clark has been great.
Yeah. It took him a little while to get started and get settled. But yeah, he's one of our more reliable starters. I mean, he still can't make it too far into a game, but he's doing a lot better.
We'll see if he gets pushed out when Rodon comes back in 2 spins. So we'll see. It's supposed to be Rodon on July 5th. So is it going to be him out? Is it going to be Brito out? We'll see. We'll see how it all goes down. Hey, series predictions here. Stacey, do you have any bold predictions for this Yankees Oakland set?
Schmidt goes 6.
I like that. We'll see on Thursday. Does Schmidt go 6? My bold prediction, Yankees lose 2 of 3.
I was going to say that, but I was like, I'm going to do Schmidt.
I say they lose to JP and Paul Blackburn. I think JP spins a gem on Wednesday.
I could see that happening.
Yeah. I really like that kid, man. I really, really did. I was really bummed when they traded him. But hey, drop your bold predictions in the comment section down below here on YouTube. Of course, you can leave your questions for Fan Mail Friday. And you guys already know what I'm going to say. Join our subtext. We just got a new subtexter today. So welcome to one of our new subtexters, whose name is escaping me as I say this. I don't have it up in front of me, but thank you for joining our subtext. Of course, you get Fan Mail Friday priority. You get one-on-one conversations, text messages with us. You get roster moves, in-game info, and a bunch more. All the info in the episode description. But that's going to do it for today's Locked On Yankees. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll recap Game 1 against Oakland. I'm Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacey Gatsoulias. We'll see you tomorrow.